This is part 2 of mucormycosis. If you haven't seen the part 1, if you haven't watched it, then please do go and watch it. And this part 2 is in fact the most important part, because in this I am going to deal with the clinical features of mucormycosis, different types of mucormycosis, how will you diagnose the condition and how will you treat the condition. So first of all, let me deal with the different types of mucormycosis and what type of clinical features they will manifest. First, we have in the list rhinocerebral mucormycosis. Now, rhinocerebral mucormycosis, as the name suggests, there is involvement of the brain and the nose. And once the cranial cavity is involved in mucormycosis, let me tell you, 100% fatality is there. Okay. Now, once when nose will be involved, the patient will manifest symptoms like nasal congestion, symptoms like nasal blockage. There will be blood tinged nasal discharge. There will be black crust formation in the palate. If you look into the palate of the patient, then you will be able to see those findings. And also paranasal pain will also be there. Now when the brain will be involved, there will be headache, very bad kind of headache the patient will have. The patient will even have seizures and all. Now this next type of mucormycosis that we have is rhino-orbitocerebral mucormycosis. As the name suggests, rhino-orbitocerebral mucormycosis. So this time, along with nose and brain, orbit is also involved. And when orbit is involved, these patients will manifest symptoms like diplopia. And diplopia, it is shown, or it is I have read in some studies that patients having diabetes, they land up most commonly in diplopia if they are having mucormycosis. So apart from diplopia, they can also have periorbital cellulitis. There will be periorbital swelling and pain and etc. Those kind of features will be there. And even it can lead to abrupt loss of vision also. Now there is pulmonary mucormycosis. In pulmonary mucormycosis, lungs will be involved and the patient will give symptoms of dyspnea and even hemoptysis. Now the other condition is gastrointestinal mucormycosis. In gastrointestinal mucormycosis, stomach and duodenum will be involved. If these are involved, then the patient can have ulcers and hemorrhage. The other type of mucormycosis is cutaneous mucormycosis, where the skin will be involved and there will be black crust formation, papules, etc. The other and the last type of mucormycosis is, guys, the disseminated mucormycosis. In disseminated mucormycosis, the hyphae will invade the blood vessels by angioinvasion and spread in your entire body, and it will affect various organs. So if this happens, then this will be one of the worst prognosis of mucormycosis. It is in fact the worst type of mucormycosis. It's considered like this. Now coming to the diagnosis of mucormycosis. After knowing all the symptoms, you have to diagnose the condition. Now how will you diagnose? Now the diagnosis is done according to ECMM guidelines, that is European Confederation of Medical Mycology. European Confederation of Medical Mycology. In this, it is said that first you have to collect the sample, then you have to go for simple microscopy. You have to see the sample under microscope. You have to do the culture, and also you have to confirm it by molecular identification. So coming to the first part, that is sample collection. If I talk about what is the best sample, that will be the biopsy. That is the best sample to be collected, tissue biopsy. But nasopharyngeal swabs and all that can also be considered, but care should be taken that the sample should not be grinded, because once if we grind the sample, then this hyphae will be damaged, because these are very very delicate structures, and if the hyphae will be damaged, then we will not be able to find anything on the culture. So now let us come to the microscopy. In microscopy, the hyphae will be very prominently visible. They will be obtuse angular branching that we will be able to see under the microscope. We can see it under KOH mount. We can even use PAS stain, and also GSM staining can be used. Now coming to the next part, that is culture. Rhizopus have got a characteristic manifestation on culture that it will give a salt and pepper appearance. So salt and pepper appearance means the fungus will grow white, the body will be white, and in that black spots will be there. That is known as salt and pepper appearance, which is the very characteristics of rhizopus. If the patient is having any other fungus related disease or any other condition, then that fungus will be fully white. Those black dots or this characteristic salt and pepper appearance will not be there. Now coming to the next part, that is molecular manifestation. In this we are going to use PCR, that is polymerase chain reaction. This is basically done to identify the species. Okay, now after the diagnosis, now we have to come to the treatment. The first the first step of treatment in these conditions of mucormycosis will be imaging. What kind of imaging? We can either go for an MRI or we can either go for a CT. This is basically done to know the extent of progression of the disease, that is till where the disease has progressed. Now part 2, that along with medical management, surgical intervention is very important, and it is very much needed in this condition. Why? Because those necrosed tissue, those have formed black crust, those debridement have to be removed. So here surgical intervention is needed along with the medical management. So that's it. See you next time.